All right. Let's see what we got here. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Rodrigo. This is twitch.tv/El Picachon or YouTube. If you're watching it later on YouTube, you can watch it on Lopez Family Variety channel. Hello, future people. Um, yeah, so had a change of schedule today, so I thought let's try a late night stream. Why not? I don't know how long this is gonna go, so if you're catching this right now, good for you. You super caught it. Oh yeah, as always, I'm accompanied by my sidekick, Smokey the Smoke Detector. If you've watched the last few streams, I've been wearing this hat because my hair is out of control. So if people are like trying to watch me and see like, oh, what's on Rodrigo's hat? It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. This hat is blank. It's literally a hat, a blank hat that I bought at the beginning of the pandemic to like hold down my hair, which was getting out of control because we were all too afraid to go get a haircut. Nowadays, I guess I don't have to be afraid to get a haircut, but I'm still using the pandemic as an excuse to not go through the social anxiety of getting a haircut. So, what we're gonna do today is play Gems of War. Have you ever played Gems of War before? I'm gonna guess maybe. Who keeps bleeping at me? Oh. So, Gems of War is a free-to-play game. It's pretty cute. And I've been playing it. I've actually been playing it for a long time on and off, but I kind of started a new account since I started it on Steam, and it's a pretty cool game. It's fun. It's basically a match 3 game, and it's based around these creatures. You can have 4 critters in your team, or you can have 3 critters and a weapon. So like each one of these is a creature. This is like a weapon. And then also you get to like design your character. You get a lot of these. So, it's a free to play game. So they're always trying to get you to spend real world money on it. So this is my character. I like to think that I, like, I'm the bunny, and that like my character is controlling this guy, and everybody thinks that this is the guy who's in charge, but in reality I'm this bunny that's like mentally controlling this guy. So we're just gonna play for a little while. I'm level 38. Like, there's like things unlock as you gain levels. So this opens at level 42. This opens at level 51. 39, so on. So I'm trying to play through. One issue that I have, as always, is that I can't ever stick with one team. So I keep swapping my teams around, so I keep putting experience on like a wide amount of cards instead of like leveling up like one team to like its maximum glory. So right now we're doing a story mode. So we're going to capture a group of Naga entering Karakoth.
Your blood will boil.
By the way, if you guys are listening, and let me know if like the sound effects are like blowing up your speakers or whatever. I tried to keep the sound effects up because this game actually has really goofy sound effects and I like them. But if they become a problem, because every time you match something, it does the sound effect. So I'm gonna try. What team should I try? Should I start out with my wackiest team? No. I'm gonna start out with this team. We'll try that. Okay, so what just happened, right? So the first thing that happens is a lot of these cards have abilities. So here's how a card works, right? So first off, you have the face of the card, right? So this is like a creepy uh, sin demon kind of. And every card has this. It has their stats, which are 9, 5, and 10. Um, and then it has its ability. So whenever you match purple ones, for example, this goes up until it gets to 10. Once it gets to 10, you can use its ability, which drains all mana from allies and enemies, gain life equal to the mana drain. So this guy can get a huge butt. Basically, this is kind of the main guy of the deck who is going to hopefully become so big that they can't, no matter who hits him, they can't kill it. And also, I have other critters on here that are also going to increase his attack power, so he'll also become more powerful on the attack. Yeah, let's do this. If you match 3, you get the mana and then you pass the turn. If you match 4 or more, you get to take an extra turn. So that's why I randomly did those those red ones, even though I actually don't have any red mana creatures or magic, or I don't know if it's called mana in this. Okay, so this guy's ready to pop. So let me see if there's... So here's another 4 of. You might as well take them. There's no reason not to. Yeah, you guys will also frequently see me wait for the thing to tell me where a match is, because I'm actually very bad at finding these matches. So I'm glad there's like a little assist. Okay, so we're going to choose a purple gem and blow it up, and it's going to blow up everything in a cross centered on that gem. So it really doesn't matter at this point in the game because we can use any kind of mana. So let's do this one.
Mana surge.
Ouch. Okay, so I'm in trouble. I need to start like protecting. Here we go. So that's good. Oh crap. All right. So the guy that I had based my deck around is now dead. No way to get him back. So that's great. But we can survive this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna power up the next lady over, and it'll be just fine. She won't have as big a butt, but she still has a pretty big butt. Also, her ability that I just used basically protects her from one hit completely. Like basically allows you to ignore the next hit.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
Okay. Yeah, let's do this one. Nice. Yeah, see, that's a 5 of.
Mana surge.
Bam. So the way that you attack is by matching up skulls. So if you match 3 skulls, your head person, your head creature, whatever, attacks the top, like the top of your team attacks the top of their team. So as you start knocking them out, you start attacking the next one over. And there's a ton of ways to mess with that. Like there are things that swap your creatures, or things that swap your opponent's creatures, so that you can mess with their like the way that they have their team set up.
Mana surge.
There's lots of things to do. Oh, nice. There's a huge, just a huge luck component to this game. It's like it really depends what you know, sometimes you'll eliminate a bunch of gems, and then like the next set of gems comes down like automatically, just gives you a ton more points or a ton more mana, or it's a bunch of skulls, so you deal a bunch of damage to the enemy. And sometimes that happens to you. So, you know. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I could have won this already. I always do that. I always kind of jump the gun and things like that. Mm. Okay, here we go. Bam. Got him.
Surge.
There are 10,000 types of currency in this game. So it's it can be get kind of complicated. This is the story mode. It's like Ver, who is Ver? I don't remember. This is me. This is supposedly what I'm saying. The Gem of War's protagonist is very bland, and also very like he just really goes with the flow. Like he meets these like murderous NPCs, and he's like, okay. Neither the stones, the wind, or their voices, but the Naga. Yes, the Naga may know, and when I learn who I was, what then? Then I may find my sanity. Okay. Very helpful, Gems of War protagonist. We must cross into the mist. It looks dangerous. It is. The mist warns us and welcomes us. After you, then. Come, these Naga have secrets we must pry loose. Lead on. Ding, 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 ding. Hiss. Alright, let's try it again. And this time we'll try to not lose the guy the deck is, or the battle group is based around. Hey, St. JW. Hey, Lagnus, what's up? It's bright and early for you guys, I'm sure. Okay, let's see what we got here. Start out with some damage. Have any of you guys ever played Gems of War? Beep, beep, boop, boop. Yeah, there we go. Okay, don't. Okay. Whew, that was close. Still not gonna be super great though, because not a lot of mana to go around. So. Let's see. Let's go with this. SNJW is going to work. That's cool. Yeah, Gems of War is it's an interesting one. It's a weird little game. Once again, I've lost the main guy, but that's okay. This deck, part of the problem is that this deck is very good about increasing stats, but the critters don't start out with very good stats. So we'll just have to work on it this way. Oh, let me know if the sound effects are like super terrible.
Mana surge.
Stop it. Lagnus says it's 8:10 here. Been awake since 5:30 because I fell asleep early yesterday. Been reading the latest The One Ring setting book. I'm at the cabin running the troubleshooters tonight and playing Sentinels and Blades in the Dark tomorrow. Wow. Sounds like a full day. Let's see. Oh, right, my purple guy died, so. Can I? I guess not. That. Bonk.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
Oh, they're not super terribly loud. That's good. Yeah, because this game has kind of wacky sound effects. I like them. Maybe it's just like Stockholm Syndrome, because when you play, you hear them so much. But, yeah, they're cute. Oh, this guy's ready to go.
Mana surge.
I do want her to pop so that she'll save this guy, but... Yep. Oh, it's not looking good for Team Rodrigo.
Mana surge.
Yeah, Mana Surge gets said a lot.
The light of good will shield us from harm.
Boop.
Mana surge.
I picked up, Lagna says, I picked up the Marvel RPG to compare with Sentinels. I think I already have my verdict, but I will try it. Yeah, I have not been seeing very good things about the Marvel RPG. People are pretty down on it, and from what I can tell, it seems kind of deserved. It's just like, it really feels like, yeah, like they've been, like, we've been making, you know, superhero RPGs for the past 20 years. And from what I've seen of the Marvel RPG, it's mostly like, that stuff doesn't matter. We're just gonna try what we were doing like back in the early 90s. Let's see. Is there no gold I can use? Okay.
Mana surge.
Okay, I'm probably not gonna win this one. Lagna says, fun fact, every time he says Mana Surge, it's a new recording. He said it over 950 times in total. Yeah. It's fun to figure out what day of the week it was when that particular Mana Surge was recorded. I don't think I'm winning this one, but it's good to play till the end because you get gold and stuff just for playing. Well, that's not good. Kind of puts me on a clock there.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
Alright. Well, I died. Yeah, definitely. I do a lot of like, oh, I want to play this kind of thing. I'm going to try and make it work. And sometimes it kind of doesn't work. So we'll try a different team. We'll try an even weirder, clunkier team and see if that works. This is a weird one. So what I'm trying to do with this one this critter, Festival Cow, it sacrifices itself and gives 5 armor, 3 attack, and 2 magic to everything, which is pretty good. It's a big boost. And so, actually, all 3 of these other creatures have ways of refilling this slot. So even though I lose the cow, I get the bonus, I should have a way to then replace it. So we'll see if it works. This works a lot better with a creature called like Dark Beast or something like that. Because then you can... Actually, this guy can sacrifice the cow if his stuff fills out first. But it's not as strong as if the cow goes out by itself. Lagna says, I'm thinking if they wanted to appeal to the 5e players and not have it to indie, of course the average 5e player will just shoehorn everything into 5e, so that would be a moot point anyway. Yeah, I don't know what exactly they were trying to do. Like, is the way that you attract D&D players to have lots of tables? Like, that repels me, but I guess I am not a traditional Dungeons & Dragons player, so... Ah, sorry, had a mana surge there. Alright. Is there really nothing better than those? Oh, I do have a red character now, though. So that's good. Bam. Let's see. Oh. I do want gold stuff. Give me the gold. Okay. Festival Cow is ready to go. So this should actually set us forward pretty well. So see, basically all of their stats have been boosted, and now we're just trying to repopulate this while also trying to deal damage to the enemy. Lagna says, waiting for WotC to launch their own VTT to really make sure that the player base never gets exposed to anything but officially sanctioned content. I mean, Wizards has been talking about launching a virtual tabletop forever. So I am not ever convinced that that's ever a thing that's actually going to happen. Let's make some spiders. Transform a selected mana color to purple, summon a spider swarm. Let's do... Yeah, let's do blue. That'll give me a couple of those of it. There we go. Skablang. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to sacrifice the spiders to this ability. It's going to deal a ton of damage to them, and it's going to summon a demon. So doing pretty good so far. This is pretty much what we want this to do. Mana surge, mana surge, mana surge. Yep. Now, Lagna says, I think the way to attract those players is by massive marketing, a huge Twitch show for a year or so, and stealing a hashtag on the way. That would make Marvel popular. Sorry, too real. You know what? Life is life, and it moves forward. Okay, let's just get through this. But yeah, no, that I'm sure that would help. Oh, hang on a second. My cat's trying to get out. Let me... It doesn't matter. Hang on a second. Cat, of course, doesn't realize that it took me forever to get my hat and headset combo to a comfortable place where I wanted it. Mana Surge. Yep. I am going to warn you guys. If you guys stick around, you're going to hear the words Mana Surge a lot.
Mana Surge.
See? Sinjadil says, I've always found licensed RPGs have the issue that players just want to be, for example, Batman or Strider or Han Solo. Yeah, I have the opposite thing where I always want to definitely not play those characters. The real problem that those RPGs have is that they are almost never um, like they almost never have a like the rules are always too restrictive for the actual characters that are actually in the piece. So you'll have something like the old Star Wars game where it's like, oh, Han Solo is like a level, well, maybe not Han Solo, but like, yeah, Luke Skywalker or like Obi-Wan Kenobi is like a level 1 Jedi Knight, or like level 3 Jedi Knight, level 2 Jedi Consular, level 2 Jedi Investigator, level 1 Fringer, level, so it's like the characters are just these like monstrosities so that they can emulate what they can actually do in the movies. And of course, in the movies, there's no restriction. The characters can just do whatever. Um, I read that. What does this demon want to do? Heal back to full and gain 7 attack. That's pretty good. I wonder if I can just sacrifice this demon now and be done with it. Sacrifice an ally. D12 scatter damage boosted by the sacrifice ally's attack. There's 30% chance to summon Abhorrath. Yeah, definitely. This should do it. We'll sacrifice Abhorrath to Abhorrath. Get an Abhorrath. And win the game. Yeah, I mean, Marvel, I think, like, this Marvel game is, like, hoping that you will just play Spider-Man and Captain Marvel or whatever, and they'll just give you a sheet with those characters. The problem is when you start trying to make your own characters and then compare to the characters that they made. I read somebody was saying that on the quick start document or whatever that people are looking at now, like 3 out of the 5 characters that they show you are illegal. Like they have abilities or things that aren't actually available to those characters at that level. So I'm like, well, this bodes well. But also, I could have told you that because it's a superhero RPG. And if you go through a superhero RPG, assigning individual abilities to each superpower, it's gonna be terrible. It like all superhero RPGs that try to do that fail significantly in some way because it's too broad, it's too difficult. That's why Fate is a good system to run superheroes in. That's why Sentinels of the Multiverse is a good system to run superheroes in. Or you have something like Masks where like the superpowers themselves don't matter. It's about the relationships and you just flavor it with superpowers, right? Like those tend to be the better superhero games because once you get into the nitty gritty of like how a power works and like how much damage it does and all this stuff, or like how much damage you resist, it just turns into a mess. And like a very crunchy mess too. Likeness says I've come full circle on licensed RPGs. I play MERP and Star Wars in the 80s. Then I didn't want to touch a set world for 30 years, and now I'm just having fun in the One Ring. I mean, that's fair. I don't know if there's any setting where I would actually want to run things, because I just find that very restrictive. I mean, Star Wars is kind of a good one, especially with, like, the amount of, like, garbage Star Wars stuff that we've been getting. I feel like I could run something decent in Star Wars. Um, but that's about it. You know, the thing about RPG settings is that they tend to be very open-ended, right? They tend to be like, hey, you can run whatever you want, or not whatever you want, but they're like, okay, here's like where the main action or the RPG takes place. But you can actually play over here somewhere where there's like nothing on the map and you can make your own stuff, right? And that's where I like to be. But stuff based on other properties doesn't have that, right? Like like an RPG based on the Expanse already has everything that's going on with Mars, everything that's going on with Earth, everything that's going on with like the Belters, everything that's going on with like the secret organizations and blah blah blah, right? There's not room to explore that, to expand it, or to like deny it, to say, oh, this doesn't work this way, because in narrative settings, all that stuff's already defined most of the time.
Mana surge.
And if it isn't now, it will be soon. That's another thing that happened with Star Wars, right? It's like I was playing the Star Wars RPG while the like before all the prequels came out, and so um, we were like making corrections as we went. You know, I'd be like, oh, I guess the dark side doesn't work this way because the movie kind of changed that. It's like, okay, I guess all this stuff that we've been saying about the dark side is like wrong, or we just have to like pretend like it doesn't matter. So it can be a thing. Um, Sinjiro says, although I think my general opinion on this is mana surge. Yep. Maybe we will turn down the sound effects for next time. We'll see. Lagnus says they also like a power level. So Thor and Marvel are much stronger than most everyone else. No use having a Spider-Man and Thor team up. Yeah, which is a problem, right? Again, something that Sentinels does very well because clearly it's something that they've already thought about, right? Something that they went in saying, like, our Batman character has to be as useful as our Superman character. Not as powerful, but as useful. So, how do we create this game so that there is always something useful that characters can be doing? Does it succeed at that? I don't know because we've only played one game of it, right? But according to those people that have played it, it does. It does successfully manage to do that. And I would say that generally speaking, at least it like it's pointed in that direction, right? Again, another reason why Fate is good at running superhero stuff is because there's only three things you can do, and you just like sprinkle like salt and pepper on that, like or sugar or whipped cream or whatever you want your character to be about on top of it. But you're always just doing those same four things, so it doesn't matter. Let's sacrifice a cow. Power up. Okay, we have to try and get either more hyenas or more spiders before we can activate Aberrath. We'll see how that comes out. So yeah, you know. I mean, it's fine. It's cool. Maybe maybe people are just not giving it a chance. Maybe there's more to it. Again, I'm saying all this stuff without really having read it, but you know, there's people like Trust Online, like people that are like legit, you know, that are like looking at this and going like, this doesn't work, or this doesn't look fun or whatever, you know. So, I mean, it's fine. You were going to suggest that? Yeah, I just thought about that. If I end up winning this game just through direct damage, I'm gonna be kind of upset because that's not what this deck is supposed to be doing. Bup, 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 bup. if I do this... Oh, here we go. Okay, definitely want to do this now. Oh, so close. I'm not gonna get a bonus hyena unless I kill it with 8 damage. So I might as well just use it, because there's no way I'm gonna be able to just deal exactly 8 damage to it. Where do I want to go here?
Mana surge.
There we go. Nice. Any 4-ofs? No. Yeah, let's go ahead and attack.
Mana surge.
Well, I guess that wouldn't have worked anyway. Let's go with these.
Mana surge.
And then this. And then this. We'll win. Blackness says, in Sentinels, the D6 mook you are fighting against can be a thug or a divine power demigod in service of a dark god. You set the power level through descriptions instead of power levels, and that is very comic booky. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like, when I was a kid, I took that stuff very literally, right? So I was like, I always hated characters like Batman and Hawkeye and the Black Widow, and you know, basically your human characters, right? It's like Captain America has something done to him. He has an actual origin, a superpowered origin, so he counts as superpowered, right? And I kind of hated all of those characters because it's like, then it feels like anybody can be in the Avengers, right? You don't need to be super powerful or a super genius that invented a super suit. You just kind of need it to be a like generally very fit and combat trained person, right? So that always annoys me. Now I recognize that it's okay and people want that. Like for some people, the idea that like Batman can be in the Justice League or that Hawkeye can be in the Avengers like gives them hope, like it makes them feel good about the human condition. And I'm like, fine, far be it for me to say that anything about against the human condition. So, you know, but for me, it still feels like it feels like it makes the superpowered guys less special, which is what I'm interested in, right? So as a kid, yeah, I was always like very leery of these like distinct power levels. Now, I don't care so much, honestly, as long as everybody in a team has some sort of superpower, I'm okay with it. And again, that's something that Sentinels does very well, right? It's something that Fate does well. It's something that, yeah, pretty much that's it. You know, again, masks is a different deal, right? It's a powered by the apocalypse thing, so kind of the relationship between the game and the player is different, and the game master. Um, and so the superpowers kind of have to not matter, right? It, like in order to play a proper powered by the apocalypse game, you kind of have to make a lot of concessions. Um, Lagnus says, like, I read an issue with Captain Marvel, Wolverine, Miss Marvel, and someone else getting trapped in an escape room by a D-list villain, and it works because it's a comic book, and we don't care that Captain Marvel punched out Galactus last month. Yeah, it's fine. You know, and that's part of it. That's part of what your game has to be able to both to emulate, but to emulate satisfyingly, right? It has to be it has to do it in a satisfying way, because yeah, giving everything different power levels is one way to do it. But if like the Spider-Man player is just gonna have sit there with his arms crossed because he's not Thor level powerful, then what's the point? Is it possible once I was a slaver? Maybe. No, so this is me, right? This bottom, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse or my pointer, but this bottom one is supposed to be me. So like the Gems of War protagonist is like the most lukewarm person in the world. No, I do not remember. But it cannot be. As you wish. Still, this does not taste of truth. The voices are in conflict. I see. Let us return to Karakoth. There are slaves to set free. Okay. Gems of War protagonist for Smash. I have searched long enough for answers. And? They make me uneasy. We must free more slaves. How? We will attack the central slave market. Good plan. Alright. Set the golems loose upon the slave market. I guess that's what we're doing now. So we have to fight the golems probably to set them loose, I'm gonna guess. This deck's working out pretty well. My Sacred Cow deck, my Festival Cow, is actually working pretty well. Is there anything better than this skull here? No. Do.
Mana surge.
So yeah, like I said, I haven't read the document, but I mean that system would have to be very cool, right? It would have to be like a really cool system. What's happening? Life is a pitch.
Good morning from the UK. Good job on the Marvel RPG thread. Twitter highlight this week.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we're actually talking about the Marvel RPG right now. Yeah, so I made this thing on Twitter, if you haven't seen it, where I was like, all right, everybody's complaining about it. I will remake the Marvel RPG from the bottom up. And basically it's just a bunch of like references to different decades of Marvel Comics. I had a lot of fun putting it together. Obviously, it doesn't work as an actual game, but I actually got like a handful of like actual game design, like indie type people like looking at it and, you know, commenting on it. So that's always nice, right? It's good to get that recognition. And of course, thank you so much, Life is a Pitch, for subscribing. I really appreciate it. BB Rosenberg, good whatever time of day it is for you, for all. Yeah, it's all over the place. BB, thank you for your donation. I believe that was you that that tipped me. Yeah, you're up here in the at the very top. You're still there, so I really appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the cause. Saint JW says, was most amusing the bits I got the references to anyway. I think it. Lagna says, I think it would work well as a Fate game. Yeah. I mean, I think I would enjoy running a game like that. Maybe someday I will. Maybe someday I'll tell the Major Spoilers crew is like, hey, I'm running the next Sentinels game. And then just keep doing that to them. Just be like, okay, we're going to make Silver Age characters. And it's like, blah, blah, blah. And they're playing, you know, they're like enjoying their characters or whatever. And I'm like, okay, scrap everything. It's the 1970s. Two of you have to get new characters, and at least one of them has to be powered by Kung Fu. Steven, you can't do it again. You can't just always play a Kung Fu guy. You have to let somebody else do it.
Mana surge.
And then, yeah, just like move them through the generations or like whatever, you know, make a bunch of like meta comic book jokes, and basically make the players sweat because of it. Let's go ahead and do this attack. Yeah, we'll just hit this guy. Bang. Bawank. Boop. Life's a Pitch says each new mechanic is a great punchline. Thank you. I'm glad you guys appreciate it. I got the idea for it. And of course the real challenge is that I got the idea for it, but I didn't have it all fully figured out when I started doing it. And so I think one of the better ones that I did was the 90s. And that one I came up with it on the spot. I had like started writing something about, you know, like characters being like extreme in the 90s or whatever. But then I remembered that probably the most interesting thing that happened with Marvel was all the behind the scenes stuff. How much damage can this guy do? 8. I need to level this guy up. How about this one? 5 damage to an enemy and poison them. Oh, this'll work. Do that. Then we sack the spiders. Then we it killed them. Never mind, that didn't work. I mean, it worked because it's like moving me ahead or whatever. But so that like weird like noise that you guys keep hearing is because that's like an ability trigger sound. So these guys gain 1 armor whenever I cast a spell, which casting a spell is like activating my guy's abilities. So they keep going up by 1 every time I activate an ability. So that's why it keeps making that noise. Lagna says, your hero has been sold to Fox, but you are not the movie version. You are the comic version. Yep, I do believe the 90s was the one that made me laugh the most. Yeah, it, you know, I kind of got painted myself into a corner there because like the 80s weren't actually that different from the 90s from like if you take a step back from that point of view. I was gonna do something about like sexy girls, but those were around in the 80s too. So yeah, this like, you know, I wanted to also do a joke about like Fleer, all like how Marvel like bought and had to get rid of like was it Fleer, like the card company, and how like you know, superhero comic book cards were a huge deal, and then they stopped being a big deal, and nobody like people basically stopped buying them. But yeah, the way it came out was the best. It's just like, here's three rough things that happened in the 90s. Let's all have a big laugh about it.
Mana surge.
Can't believe I didn't even get to sacrifice those spiders. St. Jado says you are not allowed to be called your original name. You don't own the rights to it. Yeah, stuff like that, right? That would be great. MTG has a gem matching battler mobile game. It's not very good. Yeah, it's probably not. Lagna says early 80s, half of the heroes followed Bushido, it felt like. Absolutely. That's like, that was kind of the continuation of that kung fu thing, right? It's like in the 70s, everybody was into Chinese stuff, kung fu, and that's where we get Iron Fist, and that's where we get Shang-Chi and characters like that. And then after that, in the 80s, everybody got real into ninjas and samurai, right? It's like, if your book didn't have samurai and ninjas, what kind of stupid thing are you doing? Right? That's where like we get Daredevils deal with the hand, and let's do greens.
Critical hit.
Oh, a critical hit. Yeah, that's where we get like all that Daredevil thing with the hand, where like Wolverine is revealed to have been a samurai. You know, it's like just nonsense. Okay, let's sacrifice these spiders finally.
Mana surge.
These guys hit kind of hard, but we're doing okay.
Mana
Yeah,
surge.
so lots of fun stuff, lots of fun meta stuff that can do that, right? It's like, yeah, it's like one of your characters is just locked away and can't be played until like at the end of this phase because their rights were sold to some other company, and like their movie, like the movie just hasn't been made, so you have to wait for the rights to revert. It's good times.
Mana surge.
Oh, it's within 8. This almost never happens. I like this hyena, but because it needs to kill the thing that it deals damage to, otherwise the effect doesn't happen, it can be pretty tough. Oh no, what? Oh! Oh, I don't believe it. These guys gain 1 armor every time you activate something, so I was right at 8. I activated it, they gained 1 armor, so they didn't die, so I don't get an extra hyena. Good times. Last time, wait, wrong order, yeah. Sinjado says, there was a phase at school in the 80s where throwing stars were repeatedly banned. Right? It's like, why? It's like, well, back in the 80s, people were really into ninjas. Like, really, really into ninjas, right? Lagna says, we have the British superhero, but now she's an Oriental ninja. Oh, Psylocke? Yeah. I mean, there's always Captain Britain, who actually is probably boring and stupid. Um, but also they're related, right? It's like you can't. It's like Marvel came up with 2 British superheroes, and but they're like brother and sister, right? It's like they have to
Mana
be related.
surge.
All right. Bonk. Let's see. Okay. This time, this. Oh wait, no, it's not charged. Forget it. God, I just cannot get these hyenas going the way that I want them to. Yeah, let's go with blue. Yeah, the problem with powers that create or that change the color of gems is that a lot of the time you end up handing your opponent, like, you just end up handing them a bunch of matches. See, in this game, we've actually done this ability like 3 times, and no demons have been summoned, so it's kind of a roll of the die there.
Mana surge.
Let's see. Stop it. Oh, fantastic. I can't believe I just did that. Let's see. Captain Britain was really good in that retelling of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Okay, that's good. Levsapis says, it's fine. Now we have Oscar Isaac doing a slightly embarrassing accent. Yeah, but is the character supposed to be British? Like, maybe that's a made-up guy, but yeah, I mean, Oscar Isaac's cool. Either way. Oh, Lagnus liked that comic. Oh, that's good. Chapow! Oh, it's not gonna work again. Okay. Before I get into my next fight, I gotta see if I can level up this hyena. I'll have it at 10. No, there's no point.
Mana surge.
Yeah, I better try to line up some skulls instead. Whoa. This should do it. Okay, here we go. This is why this guy is actually pretty good. It summons like 3 other hyenas actually, right? So obviously it didn't matter there because taking that guy out would defeat him. But I have been in situations where like 2 of my other things get killed early on, and I can just keep replacing them with hyenas if I play my cards right. Level up. Oh, I don't get any increases this turn. Let's increase Earth Mastery. Let's go look at my troops. Let's see if I can level up this hyena. I don't think I can because I don't have any souls, and that's how you do it. Upgrade. Level. Nope, I need 100 and I only have 69 there. Oh, but I can buy up another trait. Gain 1 attack when taking damage. Yeah, let's do that. Cool. And let's see how close to Ascension I am. Not very close. Sinjado says, I feel like the American depictions of British are either John Cleese snooty or Tracer Cockney. Tracer's accent makes my skin crawl. Yeah, I don't think that the voice actress for Tracer is actually British. Or if she is, she definitely doesn't have that accent. Maybe she's British, but she doesn't have that Cockney accent. Um, Lagnus says the story might have been one of those British Marvel comics like Death's Head 2. I really didn't know that US market didn't get everything Marvel until much later. In Sweden, we saw them on a regular basis. Yeah, Europe got all of those stories. Um, I don't know if they, like, honestly, comics making it to Latin America was a very patchy affair. It really depends on what the local editorials were doing. And it was funny because it's like if you were a kid in Mexico reading these stories, you wouldn't know by looking at them that some of them were that they were from two different companies, because the same company had the rights to both Marvel and DC comics for a long time, or rather to individual books, right? So one company would be putting out Superman and like all the Superman books and all the Spider-Man books, and another company would be putting out the Batman books. So it was kind of a big mess, you know. It's like unlike here in the U.S. where it was always very clear. It's like, oh, this is a DC comic, this is a Marvel comic. Life's a Pitch says Tracer's actor is British, but yeah, she's doing a Mary Poppins Cockney caricature. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But you're right. Basically, there's only a handful of British accents that you'll see in American media. It'll be like either a kind of a bumpkin Cockney accent, which might also double as like an aggressive Cockney accent. Um, I don't know what accent Daphne has in Frasier, but I feel like that's similar. Like even if it's not Cockney, it's like a out in the boonies accent. Um, but it's either that or yeah, like a very posh, like British accent. Basically, like all of the crew of the Star Destroyers, right? It's like there's like a bad guy British accent, and that's the one, right? It's this like very clean, very posh British accent. I don't know where it's from because I don't know enough about British accents. Um, and then uh, there's whatever the Geico Gecko has, which like I had to like explain to some of my coworkers is not an Australian accent, and they were like, no, he's supposed to be Australian, and I'm like, I mean, I don't know much about accents, but that's not an Australian accent. And they're like, oh yeah, what's an Australian accent like? And I have to be like, shrimp on the bobby. Babby? I don't know. I can't do an Australian accent either. So I'm sorry to any Australians that might be watching for that. Game of Thrones finally added a third accent. Thanks, Sean Bean. Yeah, definitely. Sejado says Daphne is Manchester, I think. That one is a lot more genuine, to be honest. If you say so. I don't know if the actress was actually British, but it does sound. I mean, it sounds like steady throughout the whole run. What is great, you know, what's easy for me to recognize, of course, is the other way around, right? When you have actors from other places doing American accents, because I had to go through the process of sort of constructing my own American accent. So I feel for them. Like I feel like Olivia from Fringe. I don't know if you guys ever saw Fringe. Like she is just trying so hard to maintain that American accent. Hugh Laurie does a great job. Like his American accent is pretty much flawless. Like almost at no point, I didn't watch the entirety of House, but like almost at no point am I ever like, oh yeah, this guy's British. Whereas like, um, I think like Christian Bale sometimes slips a little bit. I think lots of other people do too. Definitely, there are moments. There are a very few handful of moments in The Mandalorian where like the Mandalorian pronounces something with an R, and it's like just like a quick tap of a rolled R, and I'm like, yep, this guy's a native Spanish speaker putting on an American accent. Like I recognize that. But Pedro Pascal's American accent is very good. Let's see. Lagna says, will the British accents still get treated better than the Swedish ones? Yeah, I mean, especially with Morkborg everywhere. I don't know if it's even supposed to be pronounced Morkborg. Well, the thing about Morkborg is that I always see it written, but I don't ever hear anybody pronounce it. I guess I'm not watching any like Morkborg real plays or whatever. Eliza Pitch says, I love Fringe, very underrated. Fringe was fun. Classic J.J. Abrams, like, very good at creating this tense air of mystery and then kind of not knowing what to do with it, right? That's basically J.J. Abrams' brand. But early on, it's very interesting, very weird, very scary, right? Um, so yeah, I enjoyed Fringe. Let me get some
Mana
gold
surge.
and a mana surge, please. Spiders. See, the spiders are more reliable, but I really like this hyena. Yeah, that's fine. Don't hit my hyena. Let's try and cast this without summoning a swarm. See if I can do something with these red gems. Nope, it really wants me to do gold, which sucks because that's actually going to set me back, but oh well, who
Mana
cares.
surge.
We'll get some extra turns out of the deal, some damage, and then we'll try it again later. Oh, I can sacrifice the cow. Let's do that. After these skulls attack. This is like the less optimal way of doing it. But it's not terrible. Attack.
Mana surge.
Okay, now if I can get my hyena online, it'll do some good, but doesn't look like that's gonna happen.
Mana surge.
Spike in the Buffy TV series does a good job. Yeah, actually, I think he really does, and it's like that's one of those guys where I'm like surprised that he's actually not British. But again, I'm not necessarily great at telling how good they are, so it's good to hear that he's actually good. The ending of Fringe was relatively satisfying, which is very much an improvement from Lost. Yeah, definitely. Life's a Pitch says I have to beg to differ on Spike. You don't think he was good?
Mana surge. Mana surge.
I'm gonna do literally any other color, but that's fine.
Mana surge.
Oh, that works. Oh, I knew it. I knew they were gonna kill my hyena. Okay,
Mana
let's make some
surge.
spiders. Okay. It's looking like... Looking like blue. Let's see. Let's see if we can get Abarath in this mess. Nope. That's not good. That might have been a bad move on my part.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
Bonk. Scotty Mo says, James Masters, awesome as dressed in. He had me fooled. I thought he was British, says St. JW. Lives Up It says, for me, he went to the Spinal Tap School of British Accents. It probably is a little bit over the top. Like, the important thing, I think, when, like, doing an accent is, like, there are some, like, subtle things that accents do and that accents definitely
Mana
don't do,
surge.
right? And, like, one thing that, like, a
Mana
lot of British
surge.
accents do is, like, they'll go up really high in the end if you're asking a question. Like, has everybody gone? Right? Whereas, like, an American would say, is everybody gone? Right? It's like, with a British accent, you go up earlier and you keep it up. So it's like, if you're British and you're doing an American accent and you go up like that, Americans can tell immediately that that's not an American, right? Because Americans don't do that. A lot of the time, a successful accent is in the things that those people don't do that your people do. Um, so one thing about me that you guys might not know is that I love K-pop. I don't love K-pop. I love some K-pop songs, but I had been listening to a couple of different bands. One of them's Blackpink, right? And the other one is Twice. And there is a song that Blackpink does, and both of them do songs that are like completely in English, right? Um, but a lot of the time you can tell that they're not native English speakers. You know, not to be like, oh, these girls, they're bad because they're not native. But I'm saying like there's ways to like really tell. They have a song. Blackpink has a song called "Ice Cream," and in it, um, the girl says, "You're the only type to get me meltin'," and it's like no American says meltin', right? It's like even though there are words that would do that, every American says melting, right? Nobody says meltin' because it sounds weird, right? So I'm like, that was a weird choice to put that, like, I don't know what that's called, like that glottal stop there instead of just pronouncing it the way that it's written, right? So yeah, you can tell a lot of the times that when someone is or isn't a native speaker, because they will do a thing that language does, but they'll do it wrong, right? It'll be like, should we do red? Red or green, I guess. Let's do red, because I don't have anything red on the board right now.
Mana surge. Mana surge. Mana surge.
Ah, that was a good choice on my part. It's like some British accents that will like what's a good example? Well, I'll think of something. Mama Mana Surge. BB Rosenberg says, I mean, for an American who has to speak a pretend punk accent over a posh London accent, I'm with St. JW. He did a good job. Not that I'm qualified to judge. Okay. Sanjay W says my daughter is a huge BTS fan. I have heard of these bands through osmosis. Yeah, I like a lot of the girl bands, and what has gotten me into K-pop is that actually I like dance videos. I like seeing what people are dancing and like new choreographies and stuff. So I'll watch the dance videos, and they're like, "Do you want to watch like the actual music video?" I'm like, "No," because they don't show the full dance. I want to see the full dance, please. Um, Lagnus says, with Morkborg, it's all about the umlauts, like that Duckborg supplement from California. Wow, really clever there. Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like they put umlauts on everything. Yeah, that's like there for a while. It got really popular to talk about. Well, obviously, it's still really popular to talk about Russia, but you know, we used to have a president who was a bit of a Russian plant. So people would like spell his name using that like Cyrillic script, and it's like people would read like actual Russian speakers or you know from anywhere that I can read that language would read like, oh yeah, there is like instead of Trump it says like Trumov or something like that, right? It's like just completely wrong because they use that like or not that at all because they would use that like backwards R. And it's like, that backwards R doesn't sound like an R. You just sound like an idiot, or you seem like an idiot when you do that. But what are you going to do? Scotty Mo says, just heard a terrible British accent in an ad on the stream. Dick Van Dyke's Cockney sound like perfection. So I wonder if you got timed out, Scotty, for saying Dyke, even though Van Dyke is actually the guy's last name. Oh no, I lost my spider when I wasn't paying attention. Yep, I bet that's what it was, Scotty. I'm sorry about that. Try to type the name of the actor from Mary Poppins as an example of bad accents. Streamlabs won't let me. Yeah, I really need to go in and get a better. I say this every stream because every stream somebody gets uh, penalized. I need to get a better list of words, um, or maybe something that will allow me to be like, okay, within this context, this word is allowed, right? God, this does very little damage. Slam jam that. And then I don't think we're gonna win this one, guys. I have actually won games by having this guy sacrifice himself, and then I get the demon, and the demon actually wins the game for me. But sometimes it's just suicide. So we'll try to destroy. We'll try to kill this spider and hope that we get a demon. We did not get a demon. So our last hope is that later on I live long enough to have this guy sacrifice himself to the demon and get the demon. Okay, that was close. Don't have a lot of life left. Also, these guys are gaining mana really fast. Scotty Mo says no worries. Okay. Life's a Pitch says we have so many Scandi restaurants here that use umlauts liberally without sense. Yeah. Lagnus says instead of a better list of words, we can turn into a big bingo game. I do want I do want to try to provide like a safe space where we're not just gonna get a rando coming in and like you know using like racial slurs or like you know talking about people's sexuality. Okay, we lost. So I do want to have a list of banned words, you know, for safety. But the banned words right now, like my ban list is very aggressive. So yeah, it's like people will. I think like you can't say ass, for example, and like ass is something that people say all the time for in lots of different ways, right? Americans are very like butt oriented. Like they use the word ass all the time to mean lots of different things in lots of different contexts. So having that banned is kind of a weird thing. Scotty Mo says I've been watching Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts, and they have a cool group called the Umlaut Snakes. That's cool. Yeah, I started watching Kipo, and I think my wife got tired of it. Yeah, we were watching it together, and then I think my wife got tired of it, or she just wanted to watch something else more, and so we just kind of fell off of it and never got back onto it. But I liked it. I like what I saw of it, and I think we're very early on. I've seen some like promos for it, and I'm like, oh, that's very different. That seems very different from the show I was watching. So clearly, like stuff happens. So I'll try to get back into it. Scotty Mo says my wife and daughter love it. Yeah, it's very cute. If have you seen Nico and the Sword of Light? I actually really enjoyed that, and it not only is it a show that seems to have like just all the same syllables, um, but it was a really cute show. I actually really enjoyed it. The first season, I started to watch the second season, but it's one of those things where like,
Mana surge.
oh, I can't believe I did that. I could have had my cow go off, and I screwed that up. Oh well, here's another chance. Um, I it's like the first season of Nico and the Sword of Light ends so satisfyingly that I'm like, I don't feel like I need to watch another episode of this. So I need to maybe go back and watch that second season. Um, but it didn't seem necessary to do that.
Mana surge.
Uh, it is very sweet and positive. That's good. It will be good to have a follow up when we finish Keepo. Yeah, so Nico is on Amazon
Mana
Prime,
surge.
so
Mana surge.
I think Keepo's on Netflix, right? So it'll be you'll have to have Amazon Prime, or you'll have to like rent it or watch it through that. Okay, let's do green. That gives me a bonus there. Let's let's sacrifice these spiders to deal some splash damage. Oh, good. We got Abarath. Boop boop boop.
Mana surge.
My dog's asleep back there, or my dog's laying down back there, but he's got one eye open and he's looking at me. And I think it's because he's like, okay, well, it's late and I want to go to sleep and you're making a lot of noise, so please stop making so much noise so I can sleep. And I'm like, hey, streaming pays the bills, dog. You are going to have to put up with it. It's like, I put up when you wake me up 2 hours before I want to because you want to go pee-pee out in the world potty. So we all have to live with this situation, okay? This should do it here. I'm not gonna get any bonus hyenas, but direct damage is good. Scotty Mo says just stopped in after 100%ing Lego Jurassic World. Gotta get to bed. We're moving from an apartment to a house this weekend. Have an awesome game time. Yeah, hey, congratulations on the move. Have a good time. Lagnus says, me and my wife can watch like one show at a time. I really appreciate when they release an episode a week because then it's like an event. Yeah, I can see that. My wife got really into Star Trek Prodigy. So that was a thing that we were watching together. Russian Doll, the new Russian Doll just came
Mana
out.
surge.
And I was like, yeah, hey, you okay? Okay. I need to take my dog out. He's got a bad back, so sorry about that. If you heard a loud screech from my dog, he just has a bad back, so I need to take him out real quick. Let's do this. Nope, that's the wrong. All right. Again, very difficult for this like headset and hat combo to work. So the fact that these dogs keep or these animals keep making me have to take it off is a little annoying. Let's see. Quote: Giant Skunk says, "Stay in school, kids." Yep, definitely stay in school. Likeness says, "Oh, that's right. I have a new Numenera episode to listen to. Will be for walking the dog today. I'm still pretty clueless about the system. It's an interesting system." But their new Old Gods of Appalachia is doing very well on Kickstarter using that system, so I guess there are fans. There are, but I think I think the people kicking into the majority of that Kickstarter are Old Gods of Appalachia fans rather than necessarily Cypher System fans. But I'm sure there's some of those too. So we'll see. We'll see how they do it. Right now, the only Cypher System game that I've seen. How dare you? Right now, the only Cypher System game that I've seen is Numenera. So I don't know how well it translates to other genres. Um, Dr. Will sent us a bunch of YouTube videos of like people explaining the Cypher System, and one of them was somebody who was involved in a like superhero Cypher System game. So I don't know how well Cypher does superheroes, but it does seem to do like Cypher was basically written for Numenera, from what I understand. So it obviously does that very well, or you'd hope, right? Uh, do brown. Now let's do green.
Mana surge.
Okay. I'm being streamed on a hovercraft at the moment. Um, oh, wait, you're watching me on a hovercraft? That's hardcore. Is Old Gods of Appalachia an existing thing? Yeah, it's a podcast. Um, it's like a story podcast, kind of like it's kind of like Night Vale, I think. Just kind of is like an anthology thing with maybe some under like some either a framing narrative. I don't know much about it. I just kind of I looked it up because of the game and because a friend of mine was talking about it. Um, but yeah, either with like some continuity between the stories, um, or some sort of like framing narrative that is continuous. But yeah, it's already a thing, and it sounds good. I saw a couple of things. I saw a couple of YouTube videos that were clips from it, where like people do animatics, and it's like it sounds cool. You know, it's actually the sort of storytelling that I'm into. You know, if you've read Tallest Rabbit, um, Tallest Rabbit is a book about stories, and so anthologies, and especially kind of like weird mystical anthologies, is something that I'm definitely into. So I've been thinking about checking it out, but I'm really bad about listening to podcasts. I just don't have the time a lot of the time, and my job, like I don't have a big commute to my job, and also my job, I exclusively do things for work where I have to listen to what I'm doing, right? I'm either taking care of people, and so I need to listen to see if they're okay, or I'm editing or streaming or podcasting or whatever. So, um, remove all gems, heal back to full, and gain 7 attack. Wow, I almost never trigger this thing. So yeah, I kind of want to get into it, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to.
Mana surge.
That is a wackadoo ability. I don't think I have ever triggered Aberrath's ability. Let's see if we can poison this guy. Unless there's something better. There is something better. And then some damage. Okay, now poison the guy. Where's my thing? Yeah. All right. I think we're going to win it this time, guys, but you just never know. I guess that's good. Still go either way.
Mana surge.
Bonk. We got him. Sinja Joe says, as it's the only commercial hovercraft service I know of, you could pinpoint where I am. Oh, okay. Well, I won't. I'll respect your hovercraft piracy. Life's a Pitch says, when I read Numenera, it ended up feeling just a little too close to D&D with extra steps. So I talked to Brian about it, and apparently we're working on like the second edition of Numenera. The first edition of Numenera was very fighty and very D&D-ish. Like going back and reading this one, and I'm like, man, I just like read this system all wrong the first time. And Brian's like, no, you probably read the first edition and got disgusted by that because it is like very fighty, very much D&D. It's like you have fighters and you have wizards and then you have jacks that are like fighter wizards, right? And it's like that sounds terrible. So this version, when I read it, it was a lot more about exploration, right? It's like it had a lot more mechanics that sink their hooks into exploring rather than just fighting. So it's also a lot more loose. Like everything's a lot more open to interpretation. So it just it really depends on your game master how like just kind of how tightly wound the game is. Um, Life's a Pitch says all those targets. Oh, Lagnus says my hovercraft is full of eels. Life's a Pitch says all those targets and difficulty levels just felt like contrived ways of not saying DC. Sure, sure. There can be sort of a um there might be like a mathematical advantage to like lowering the target number instead of like just adding modifiers to your roll. Um, so what's good about it is that it creates this natural kind of parabola. I don't know. I don't know if parabola is right. It kind of creates this natural cutoff for difficulty, right? It's like in D&D, difficulty can just keep going up and up and up and up and up, and you just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger modifiers. In the Cypher system, as it stands currently, it doesn't. Like, basically, anything that is like a difficulty 21 and up is impossible to just get on a d20, right? So that's kind of what works about when you get to those sorts of rolls and you start chipping away at them. Um, that creates this like kind of more fun situation of like being like, this would be impossible except I have my like jetpack and my friends and my like this like squid that lives in my head, and they're all helping me, so I'm able to make this jump or whatever and not die, right? So I do appreciate the that you can actually get into situations that feel differently. Um, but most of the time, it is just like it would be identical if instead of subtracting 3 um, from the target number for each thing that you throw at it. If you were just adding 3 to your own roll, it would be basically the same. But for certain things, it does kind of feel different. I don't know if it is different, but it feels different. Let's see. Life's a Pitch says, Tallest Rabbit is so good. Well, thank you. I really enjoyed writing it, and I'm exactly the sort of douche that every once in a while pulls out his own book, starts reading through it, and just cracks himself up. I'm just like, oh, this book is so clever. I'm so smart. Like, that's me. I hope that you guys aren't turned off by that because I really enjoy my own writing. I write for myself. I write the things that I want to read that nobody else is doing or that maybe some people are doing, but I want to synthesize them in a different way. So I really enjoy my own writing because I'm like, finally, some genius finally wrote this. I don't really think of myself as a genius. Now my cat wants back in, but I'm not going to let her back in. Let's see. Lagnus says, I listen to podcasts at work as I am often by myself doing stuff. I'm very thankful for good podcasts. Yeah, that works. Um, Sinjadolu says, I tweeted a pic in reply to the stream tweet if you want to see the inside of the hovercraft. Okay. Let me see if I can find it. What? Hang on a second. Let me, browser. This is a hovercraft? Oh wait, I haven't done the transition yet. Here we go. Bloop. This is a hovercraft? It looks very comfortable. What do you mean a hover? Like, does it have like? Does it not have wheels? Like, right? Like it just like has like an air cushion that it like shoots out. Is that what it is? This is a fancy hovercraft. When I think of a hovercraft, I think of like people in Florida like flying around the Everglades and stuff, and like little tiny death machines. This is not what I picture when I usually think of a hovercraft. So that's cool. I didn't know hovercraft technology had gone that far. move this back. And I'm guessing that my captions died. Nope, they're back. Okay. Sinjiro says, what's the point if you don't like it? Yeah, absolutely. Lagna says, the Troubleshooters has a neat skill challenge system where you set up the task with different skills and then the PCs try to beat it and the end result is an outcome off that. Not new, still cool. Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. It's very bouncy. That's not good. So, like, kind of like, kind of like, oh, I left my glasses out there. Oh, well, that's fine. Like when there's turbulence on a plane, or does it just kind of have this, like, up and downness to it? Where do I want to go here? Power up the cow. Cow powers activate. Oh, actually, these guys are actually, like, reasonably within hyena striking distance. So I can probably get a good hyena going here.
Mana surge.
Here we go. All right. Bibbidi bang. Okay. Power that up. Okay. Yeah, let's do brown gems.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
Lagna says Saint is escaping England to France. Oh, probably to spy on Belgium or something. I think most people over there works for MI6. Yeah, it's a very large department or ministry, I guess. Sinjiro says up and down really doesn't run in high winds. Lagnus, an island off the coast to mainland England. Oh, okay. Lagnus says, right, I get it, totally not a spy. Yeah, seems suspicious. Seems suspicious that no one had ever heard of these hovercrafts before until now. But I guess we'll believe you. That's fun, though. What they have here in Washington is they have these. Oh, this could. Oh, wait, hang on. Okay, this could work. Nope. Never mind. That's fine. God, this hyena never fires the way I want it to. So let's do this. Then bam. Bam. Okay, so now then. Let's do brown.
Mana surge.
Senjido says Q made it. I'm not supposed to talk about it. That's cute. Let's try that. Sacrifice the spiders again. No demon. But within hyena striking distance for once. So we get another hyena. And then, yep, then we just keep going.
Mana surge.
I kind of get the sense that like nobody knows what's happening. Like none of you guys are like familiar with this game, right? So you're just seeing like pew 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 pew, and I'm like, oh, I lost. You have to watch it for a while to kind of figure out what's happening. So many slaves. Why do they need this many? I don't know. The warlocks are planning something. Are you sure? The voices tell me they do not lie. Okay. Oh. Oh, Gems of War protagonist. Alright, let's do something else for a sec. Oh, I got my, like in a lot of free-to-play games, you get rewarded for logging on. There's also all kinds of events, just constantly. Multiple overlapping events. There's lots to do in this game. Right now, a lot of it I can't do because all of my stuff is too low level. And I know that if I spend some real-world money on it, I could actually get it to much higher level. But what are you going to do? Alright. Looks like we got some... Oh, yep. Well, thank you. Looks like we got some chests that we can open, so let's do that. Ooh, we got 2 event chests. Let's see what that's about. Runic Tradestone and a Runic Tradestone. So, like, these things are one of the things that you use to level up one aspect of your cards. Like I said, there's, like, a massive amount of currency in this game, right? Just, like, multiple different things that serve to level up one thing or another. So the trade stones are good to level up your critters, like basically to give your creatures new abilities. That's what they're used for. Each troop has 3 potential abilities that you can unlock, which like kind of influence their play style. Let's open 6 regular chests. A frostling. A midge swarm. Lots of bugs today. A giant crab. Okay, so it's arthropods today. A minor wind trade stone. 36 souls. 503 gold. Let's see what the... I forget what the mission. Deal 9 scatter damage to all enemies twice. That's pretty good. Frostling. Freeze and web an enemy if there are 13 or more blue gems, gain 4 mana. That doesn't seem that good. Yeah, so giant crab is a good example of like kind of like a disruptor type card. Usually you'll set up your troops in the order that you want them to be, but giant crab swaps your the enemy's first and last troop. So presumably whatever troop you had all the way in the back trying to protect it gets flipped to the front, and then they have to deal the damage, and also all skulls damage is now being dealt to them. So, like that's an example of like the sorts of like wacky shenanigans that you can get up to with this game. It's interesting to play a new game like this because you start figuring out what's important and what these strategies revolve around. Lagnus says there used to be large hovercrafts going to France before the tunnel. I think it ended in 2000. I remember seeing a program about them in the early 80s or something. Okay. St. W says, yeah, there were about 3 times the size of the one I take to work. Okay. Lagnus says, I think I saw hovercraft service to a certain famous island when I was in Portsmouth. Oh, okay. All right. Oh yeah, I was saying, one a thing they have here are like amphibious buses. So they'll do a tour, and so you get in the bus, and then they'll like go around places in Seattle, and then like the bus will just go in the water and like take you around like the harbor and stuff. So that's pretty cool. I've never been on one. Also, maybe don't look them up because relatively recently, like a few years ago, there was just an absolutely horrendous accident involving one of those. So it's very likely that if you look them up, the first thing that's going to come up is like articles and maybe even pictures about that. So be careful. Kill 100 troops. Adventures. I don't know what this is. There are like so many modes in this game. It's like really like there's just so many like it all comes down to this. Like no matter what you're playing, you know, a match 3 game, but there are like so many different modes to this game and different ways of like getting whatever currency you want. So it's good. It's like there's a lot to do, assuming that you're good with the fact that regardless of what you have to do, it'll always take the form of a match 3 game. Yeah, let's do that.
Mana surge.
Hmm. Blip. Let's see here.
You will pay the ultimate price.
Could do brown. Yeah, let's do brown.
Mana surge.
Um, let's see. So these skulls here, they do an extra 5 damage. So if you match two other skulls to it, you also get bonus damage. So that's cool.
Mana surge.
Finally. Time to activate my cow. Well, we'll do a damage first and then we'll activate the cow. Ugh. Jeebus. Hmm. Okay. They did not attack what they probably should have attacked, so that's good. Okay, now let's sacrifice the cow. That's the one. Anyway, I have reached work, so I'll catch the rest on the VOD. Mana Surge! Yes, thank you, Saint JW. Thanks for coming around and having some fun with the Mana Surge. Can I? Nope, not yet. Okay.
Mana surge.
Mana Surge. Okay, I need to deal some damage here. That is not the way to do it. Let's see. Is there anything better than that? Okay, yep, this will get us some spiders. That'll be good. Should we do brown again? Yeah, let's do brown again.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
So that we can get a mana surge. sacrifice these spiders. It's good because that puts me within hyena range. Get a hyena.
Mana surge.
You will pay the ultimate price.
Bonk. Oh, you're trying to make baby spiders too. Yeah, it's horrifying. There's a few cards or troops like this one, where they like either transform into something else or they summon like a random creature. So like this will summon a random spider. There's one that's like a dragon egg. So every time it goes off, it summons a baby dragon. And baby dragon is a thing where it transforms into a random grown-up dragon, right? A random other dragon troop. So I don't know, like baby dragon is one of like the earliest troops that you get, but I've never been able to really make it work. Like it really clearly very much wants to be in its own dedicated team, but I've never really gotten it to work. Lagna says, this isn't the kind of game you can get accidentally conditioned to. Like if you drink water while playing, next time, every time you hear mana surge, you'll get thirsty. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is like you might just you'll get conditioned. Like if you're like out in your life and you see 3 of a thing, you're like, eh, 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 eh. Like trying to get them together. It's like, that's not good. Not a lot of particularly good choices there. See, now this guy's doing it. They're like repopulating their team by like basically slowly trying to get themselves back up to 4 team members. But I'm not gonna let them. Oh, we got Aberath. Where do I want to go here? I think now there is a better, yeah. There's a better mix of things.
Mana surge.
Bam. Got him. We need an RPG where mana surge is the main mechanic. Yeah. You have 2 stats, mana and surge. Oh. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Okay, my cat's freaking out. Let me let the cat in. Sorry, I would have shown you guys the cat like I did with Pavlov, but I still, I don't know if you guys can, content warning, I'm about to show you a cat slash. See that? Slashed me up. She does not like it when I pick her up. So yeah, definitely, maybe next time we play Gems of War, I'll just turn the whole thing down. I guess I can do that now, if we're getting tired of Mana Surge. But also it's kind of fun. It's, you know, it's kind of, like I said, it's got like
Mana surge.
pretty wacky sound effects. And they're satisfying, you know, when you make a match, it does that like whooshing sound. It's fun, it's good times. Yeah, you get money and stuff, and it's like ka-clink. No, no, don't turn it off, or no, please turn it off. Or no, don't show me your scratched up arm. I love Mana Surge, and it's not too loud. Okay, okay, alright, that's good.
Mana
Yeah.
surge.
Mana Surge. I could just change the... I'll just change the... the title. To Mana Surge. There we go. I guess I could do a tweet too. All right. Back to that. Open that back up. How are my captions? Okay, that seems to be working well. All right. The good thing too is that this is all like PvE, so it literally doesn't matter. I could just leave this. I mean, eventually I think the server will like disconnect you, but you know, nobody's waiting on me. So we can take our time and do whatever we want. Oh, cow's ready. Forgot about that.
You will pay the ultimate price.
What does that do? Gain 4 life, boosted by webbed enemies. Give all other allies 1/4 of their mana. Cool. That's not bad. Yeah. Let's do hyenas. Oh, snap. Once again, I am within hyena striking distance and hopefully won't mess it up. Haha. Okay. Yes. So yeah, if you match, anytime you match 4, you get an extra turn. So if you match 4 skulls, you get to deal damage and take an extra turn. So that's nice. And also it deals extra damage. So definitely, if there are 4 skulls to be matched, definitely do that.
Mana surge.
Mana Surge. Excuse me, ma'am. Were you aware that Mana Surge? Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for Mana Surge. Oh. That's what it wants me to do. Okay, I get it now. Okay. What am I looking at here? Sacrifice the hyena. Got Aberath in, but it doesn't matter. Alright, level 40. Let's build up my water mastery. Oh, I got a new team slot. Nice. Those are good. Okay. Lagnus says, I like the travel system in the One Ring, where you abstract and sum up several days and just zoom in to play a specific event during those days, which will likely be every 2 to 7 days or so. Can you think of any other systems where travel is a montage like this? Uh, I think there are other systems that are like that. Um, but the first thing that comes to mind is that that's one of the things that 4th edition's skill challenges were meant to convey, right? Was also basically spending time traveling and having adventures or whatever. But for that one, because it's like you keep coming up with like perils that the party overcomes, rather than this sounds like a very specific uh, like a specific mechanic to portray that travel time. So off the top of my head, no, but I do think that there are other games that do stuff like that.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
I always end up doing that. I'm like, here, would you like to make the four match that I was trying to make? Because I took a preemptive move that set that up for you. Here you go. Skabank.
Return from the darkness.
Always trying to web me. What does Frenzy do? Gain 1 attack when taking damage. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Let's do green.
Mana surge.
And then we're very close, but I'm not seeing any.
Mana surge.
Oh. Oh. I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, let's sacrifice the cow. I guess let's do some damage. Should have just... Okay. Let's not do that then. Let's have the cow sacrifice itself.
Mana surge.
Ugh. Everything's poisoned, that's what... I'm sure you guys figured out that that's what these little green bubbles mean. The cool thing about the cow
Mana
is that
surge.
it increases the other unit's magic, and there's actually not a lot of readily available creatures, at least at the level that I'm playing, that increase your magic. Ew. Four damage. Is it because it's webbed? What does web do? Have their magic reduced to 0. Okay. So that's not going to help me until it gets unwebbed.
Mana surge.
So let's make a spider. Okay, well, first let's mana search, then make a spider. Well, let's mana search now.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
That's the other thing, is that you might have like this idea of what you want to do, and then it's like, oh, the board just has something much better that you can do. So why bother doing your team strategy if like you can just explode the board 3 times? Lagna says, I guess the overcome action in Sentinels can be anything, including travel montage. Yeah, but it's not explicitly that, right? It's like, thematically speaking, obviously, the One Ring is a game that should care about travel time, right? So having an explicit mechanic that covers travel time makes a lot of sense. Okay. Let's see. Cast. Sacrifice the spiders. Deal some damage. Alright. Hyena's free. Let's deal some damage. Alright, this should do it. Oh, never mind. It's not my turn. Let's see. Yep, let's do that. Get an extra turn. I'll do something down here, yeah.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
Bang. Okay, I should be pretty much within striking distance here. Skabow! Blip, 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 blip. Okay. What does this do? Medium, hard, extreme. I don't want to deal with that. So that's another thing. These are all, so this story mode that I'm doing right now, I've done a story mode for this place, this place, this place, and this place. And also each of these have like additional challenges. So again, tons of stuff to do. So much stuff. Again, as long as you're okay with it all being a match 3, there's always just so much stuff to do in this game. I wonder if like you ever run out of stuff. I think there's more stuff to do now than when I first played it like years ago. And I think that they just keep adding stuff. They're just like, okay, well, there should always be something for somebody to be doing. What's a chupacabra do? Deal 3 damage to an enemy. If the enemy is a beast, deal double damage. And there's a 10% chance to devour them. Nice. Oh yeah, this is what I was talking about, right? It's like when it activates, you summon a baby dragon. Baby dragon's ability is that when it goes off, it turns into another, like, adult dragon card. So it's good times. Ugh. Lagna says the starter set has a slight variation called Hobbit Walks. You might lose time because dogs chased you up a tree or you ate too much at an inn. That's cool. This story looks fine, but it needs more mana surge. People come here for the mana surge, and we're not giving them enough, the editor of story mode. Yeah, it's hard to believe there was a time when we didn't get enough mana surge, but I think we barely get enough mana surge as it is. Ugh. Alright. Yeah, we'll just call this one a relatively short late night stream. I think we'll wrap it up here. I'd like to thank you guys for joining me and playing Gems of War with me, and of course, as always, for taking part in all the mana surge that is happening. We'll come back on Wednesday. And we'll do the regular Wednesday stream. That should be the next thing that happens. So let me get my thing here. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys then. I guess let me see if I was gonna say let me see if there's a raid that we can do, but it's I don't think anybody's up right now of the people that I watch. So we'll just call it good here. I'll catch you guys later.